Hello, and this is the AM News. Let's start now. One of the counsels for investigative journalist Anas Saremiyawo Anas, Evan Selassie Adinka, has warned that they will escalate their demand for damages to $50 million if the court is forced to retry the case. His notice comes at the back of ongoing controversy over a said concern of mistrial raised by counsels of plaintiff Kennedy Ejapong. James Savage has been monitoring and filed this report.
Delivered a unanimous verdict.
Investigative journalist Anas Saremiyawo Anas in 2022 filed a defamation case against former Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong on 5 counts, including that the former MP labeled him as a thief, murderer, a serial killer, among others. He demanded $30 million in compensation, plus a pronouncement that the former MP desist from making any such pronouncement against him in the future. Almost 3 years on, a superior court in New Jersey upheld the case and awarded $18 million in damages on Thursday, March 13, 2025, after a jury trial. The judgment has, however, sparked public controversy over whether the case has been concluded, after the defendants are said to have raised the case of mistrial. Here's one of the counsels of Anas, Evan Selassie Adinka's response.
And according to the lawyer, he said the judge had promised to rule on his oral motion. The judge informed him in open court that he made no such promises.
He says any attempt by Kennedy Ejapong's side to appeal against the court ruling would only compound their situation, as his side is prepared to demand even more.
And panel a new jury for us to make our presentation for punitive damages, which could now escalate to about 5 times of the $10 million, which would put the new award possibly around $50 million. So then, it's their prerogative. If they want to chart their course, we're ready to face them in court.
As for Anas, the case is a testament of his resolve to uphold truth, justice, and integrity.
Let this moment be a wake-up call to all who seek to erode the foundations of justice in Ghana. Let it remind us that democracy is not just about elections, but institutions that uphold the truth, courts that deliver justice without fear or favor, and citizens who refuse to accept corruption as the norm.
It is unclear whether the judge will consider a remedy filed by lawyers of the embattled MP in his full ruling on the matter to allow for the $18 million cost to be reduced. James Savage, Joy News.
We will name, shame, and jail. Ghana deserves better, and I will never stop fighting for a future where justice is not a privilege of the powerful, but the right of every citizen. Thank you.
National Ghana's country director, Genevieve Pattenting, has called for a baseline survey to assess women's representation in civil service, stressing its importance in measuring the impact of the Affirmative Action Act. Speaking at an Affirmative Action Law Forum on International Women's Day, she called for stronger public education and awareness to ensure clear understanding and enforcement of the law. She starts urging civil societies to hold the government accountable for enforcing gender equity in the country.
As for affirmative action, Amnesty International will continue to do our work in advocacy, sensitization of persons. We had a lot of students here today. We had students from Lancaster, University of Ghana, GIMPA, and we even had the Judicial Service even requesting that, it would be great for them to receive some type of training on the Act. So I think people are ready to learn, and people need to do more in terms of social media advocacy. And you have to do it individually, not necessarily by organization. You can use your social media spaces to advocate and sensitize people about the Act. It is also the mandate of civil society to monitor what happens with the Act. Now, we're supposed to achieve 30% of women's representation in all sectors by 2026. And because of that, civil society has a key role in ensuring that we monitor the appointments, not just appointments by governments, appointments in public sector, private sector, security forces. All those areas are very, very important to us so that we can report and measure the impact. Now, I know the first step for the Gender Equity Committee is to establish a baseline survey. So we want to know right now, in terms of women's representation, how many women are in the sector, in the different sectors. I would like to call on Ghana Statistical Service to really look into that. I know this demands funding. So maybe we can reach out to some of the donor partners to invest in this, because it's very, very important to establish a baseline first. Then we can see the progress and impact we are making as a country.
Meanwhile, Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Agnes Namomulate, is calling for collaborative efforts between the government and private institutions in promoting equity in the country.
We must move beyond words and ensure that this law translates into real opportunities for women across all sectors. That is politics, business, education, and beyond. Chairperson, distinguished guests, as the minister responsible for gender in this country, I can boldly say that our president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is poised to bridge the gender inequality gap during his tenure of office. The president, in his 2024 manifesto, promised to implement the affirmative action by doing the following. It is not just a promise, as it is now, it's moved beyond promise. 1, to pass a legislative instrument to the Affirmative Action Gender Equity Act. 2, support institutions such as Parliament, judiciary, security, or the security agencies, political parties, public office appointments and recruitment, trade unions, and the private sector to achieve gender parity in accordance with Schedule A of the Act. 3, support the establishment of Gender Equity Committee and resource it to ensure effective exercise of its mandate and accountability.
Well, the 2024 health year saw an increase in HIV cases in the Central Region. Sharing this information at the 2024 Central Regional Annual Health Sector Performance Review meeting, the Acting Regional Director of Health Service, Dr. Mrs. Agnes Echiama Anani, indicated that while recorded HIV cases in the region increased to 3,803 against 2023's 2,618, recorded cholera cases saw some significant numerical and diagnostic changes. Abigail Estelle Nkrumah will tell us more in this report.
Strengthening outbreak preparedness, the importance of surveillance, coordination, and community engagement was the underlying theme for the 2024 Central Regional Annual Health Sector Performance Review meeting. Reflecting on the past year, the Acting Regional Director of Health Service, Dr. Mrs. Agnes Echiama Anani, shared statistics on cholera and HIV cases recorded in the Central Region.
The HIV, we had an increase in infection, and there was about, so 2023 we had 2,618 in 2023, and in 2024 we had 3,803. Yes, so that means that there is an increase in the figure, and we are trying hard to educate the people more, let people know about the condition and put in preventive measures to ensure that they don't contract the disease. If you have a lot of people getting infected, it means that we are going to incur more cost in treating them. So we rather have to put in the preventive measures from people not contracting it at all.
Representing the Central Regional Minister, the Acting Regional Coordinating Director, Blaise Kwame Dake, indicated the investment in digital healthcare technology has improved the region's disease surveillance system.
Recent investment in digital health technologies have enhanced our disease surveillance systems, enabling faster detection and response to outbreaks. The rollout of integrated digital health records across significant health facilities in the central region has significantly improved data accuracy and patient management. Moreover, the introduction or reintroduction of mobile health initiatives have extended our reach into remote communities, ensuring timely healthcare delivery and community engagement.
The president of the Central Regional House of Chiefs, Odefo Amwakwa-Boadu VIII, hopes the 2025 health year will see a more improved healthcare delivery service.
We are trusting that we are going to build upon the success of 2024 to deliver more quality service, to ensure better service outcomes in 2025. To the awardees, we say congratulations. With this, I know that we are all going to play our roles, we are all going to support, all stakeholders are going to come on board to ensure that we deliver that vision that the Director General of Ghana Health Service is letting us know, so that we position Ghana Health Service to deliver that world-class service for all to better our country, Ghana.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Ghana is losing the equivalent of 23 football fields of forest cover every day due to mining. That's according to scientists at the Ghana Space Science Institute. Scientists are using cutting-edge satellite imagery and AI, and they've uncovered a shocking truth. In just a decade, over 59,000 hectares of forest in the south have been wiped out. It's the first time such devastation has been mapped out so precisely. And my colleague Michael Ashali has details for Tech Thursday this week.
Mining is one of Ghana's most important economic sectors, contributing billions of dollars to the economy and providing thousands of jobs. But the cost of this wealth has been high. Our forests are disappearing and our water bodies are under threat. For years, Ghana struggled to measure just how much land and forest cover had been lost to mining, both legal and illegal. That changed in 2023 when, for the first time, scientists at the Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute were able to put actual numbers to the destruction.
Between 2007 and 2023, we've lost almost 55,000 hectares of land. And how did we do it? We were able to do it with satellites. So we took satellite images from 2007, 2008, 2009 of the same location. Then we monitored the area that we are losing, right? Then we did ground studies to validate the satellite data.
The findings were alarming. But just a year later, when the scientists updated their data, the situation had worsened.
A little over 59,000 hectares of land has been converted to mining. So if you have lost that vegetation, and if you translate that, that amounts to about 84,000 football parks. That's quite a lot. And from 2015 to 2020, there was about 72% change in mining in terms of the land converted. If you look at from 2020 to 2022, it was about 135% increase.
Western region, Western North, Eastern and Central regions are all facing aggressive expansion of mining activities. It's not just forest. Ghana's rivers, once sources of clean water, have turned brown with sediment and toxic waste. The Space Science Institute has now developed a way to track these changes remotely.
We also monitor our water bodies a lot, measuring turbidity. Turbidity can be measured on the ground. Turbidity can be measured with a satellite, NDTI. So what happens is we take the ground data, we take the satellite data, then we validate, we try to compare. Once the model works, you can extend it to other areas where you don't have access to. So instead of touring the whole riverbank, you can just take a satellite image of a wide area, then you can still estimate the turbidity, and that is the water quality.
Ghana's scientists are not just tracking deforestation. They are also working on applications that can estimate farm yields, helping to predict food production and ensure food security.
Currently, we have an algorithm. The accuracy we are running around 65-70%. So you can take satellite images of the farms at the northern region. Then you can classify, okay, these are where the maize farms are. By measuring their chlorophyll index and measuring the soil moisture and other parameters and the leaf area index, you can estimate the yield of the farm.
Despite their groundbreaking work, Ghana's space scientists are facing serious threats, especially from land encroachment. The Ghana Radio Astronomy Observatory, a key research facility, has lost most of its land.
That initial land was 165 acres. It came to 75. Now we are having less than 30.
And this whole facility is more than $12–15 million going from 2012 all the way to this time. In the whole of Africa, Ghana is the second country to have a radio telescope. What the people around are doing is that they are producing RFI, or radio frequency interference, and that is affecting our data. Then you see this wiggles here. That is the background noise that is coming from around us.
This is our project site, and one of the challenges that we are facing is the heavy encroachment. And not only that, it's affecting the science that we are actually doing.
Ghana's space scientists believe the country must take its space program more seriously. While other African nations are launching satellites, Ghana currently has none in orbit.
We need to own our own satellites. We need to build our own satellites, owned by Ghanaians, built by Ghanaians. So when you take our brothers, Nigeria has about 7 satellites. When you take South Africa, they are big brothers. They've launched almost 13 satellites. Likewise, Egypt, Rwanda also has launched a lot of satellites. Angola launched a communication satellite, which they are reaping from. When you come to Ghana, as we speak, as I said before, we don't have any satellites in orbit.
For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Away from that, let's do some other stories, because climate change is no longer a distant threat, but a daily reality. In Accra, challenges such as car emissions, contributing to heat waves, and improper waste management are threatening environmental sustainability, which has become increasingly urgent. In response, a new initiative aims to harness the ideas and energy of young people to help address these issues. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly, through its Youth Climate Action Fund, is providing young people between the ages of 15 and 24 with access to $10,000 to support projects focused on reducing environmental risk in Accra. Elsie Esiedua Kisiedu has more in this report.
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly, with support from Bloomberg Philanthropies and United Cities, have launched the Youth Climate Action Fund to empower young people to develop solutions for some of Accra's most pressing environmental challenges. According to engineer Solomon Noy, Waste Management Director at the AMA, the fund offers young innovators a platform to explore new approaches in tackling sanitation and waste management issues that contribute to climate change in the city.
We are doing this program for the youth to go through their various disciplines that they are studying and come together with innovative ideas, think outside the box, and see what they can do to help this cause through recycling, through energy tapping, through various means of making sure that we
Apologies for that bad sound. We'll bring you a revised edition in a subsequent bulletins. And that takes us to our business update, really, with Benjamin Akaku.
Welcome to the business update. Let's start first with the currency market. Well, let's get into our stories now. And to tap into the huge demand for petroleum products in the West African sub-region and beyond, the Tema oil refinery is seeking capital injection to retool and begin its core operation. Now, through a rigorous process, TOR is selecting an investor and helping restore the company to its glory days, contributing to Ghana's GDP. Managing Director of TOR, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, disclosed this to Joy Business.
If you have minimum of 20 to 25 million US dollars, we can get the CDU back, and which all we are working on. So we're working on, apart from the strategic investor, we're also working on local sources of potential funding. If we are able to get that, we're going to start business. But I'm saying that if you watch outside here, you see so many number of trucks. That shows that TOR is still in business. But if you have the core business coming, I think that will be phenomenal. That will create a lot of job opportunity for the teaming youth. There's no any engineering that you not find here. And oil and gas industry side that it's not only engineering. Talk about even media men, talk about accountant, talk about lawyers. Everybody has a role to play. So that's the beauty of revitalizing the oil and gas industry. So yes, we are working on investors. We are getting to conclude on who we're going to settle on. And when that is done, we can give clear timelines on when we're going to be able to come back to start refining the first oil.
Now, savings and loans companies are urging customers to pay back loans borrowed from financial institutions. According to Chief Executive of Opportunity International Savings and Loans Limited, Kwame Owusu-Boateng, this is important to keep those institutions afloat. He spoke to Joy Business after the company opened a new branch in Medina.
The fact is that whatever money we have to give out as loans came from somebody, either a depositor or for us as financiers, you also go and borrow from another bank to also give it out to customers. And therefore, for clients to continue to have loans, they have to repay so that we can create a greater impact. If clients are not paying their loans, it's either a shareholder's money that is going out of the bank or a debt that we have to go and pay or a depositor's money. But I don't believe that any depositor will put money in the bank and come and we tell the depositor that we're giving out your deposit as loans and the person has not paid, so we cannot give you back your deposit. So it's a cycle. And therefore, we have to encourage our customers to be responsible borrowers. Again, if you borrow and you don't repay, your credit profile is also going bad, because as banks, we are connected and we can see your credit profile.
Let's find out now what the commodities on the world market are exchanging for. Well, that's it for our business update. Handing over back to Sweetie Aboji.
Well, that wraps the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. Coming up next is the News Review. Our guests are joining us shortly, and we'll be right back to serve you that. Please stay.